Hello and welcome back to yet another amazing video by the one and only Lore Lockdown. Now, if you guys are big horror fans, and I really hope you are, then you would be aware that most horror franchises nowadays give us one big bad monster with a set of rules to defeat it. But Evil Dead was like,
I'm gonna do my own.
Instead of one boss level villain, it decided to give us a demonic force that can possess someone else's body, twist that body into something horribly unnatural, spread through wounds or supernatural contact depending on the entry, and then use your own face to deliver a power 100 to everything you love before it kills them.
Emotional, damn it!
These entities are called Deadites, and trust me when I say this, these entities are so much worse than you can even imagine. In this video, we will be talking a lot about these entities, and we will also see how they possess, what they change, how strong they seem to get, and what it actually takes to stop them. Once we are done, I am sure that you will realize that the Deadites might actually be one of the most fascinating yet scary nightmares in the horror industry. If you are scared of the dark, you are warned because there is a lot of it, so buckle up and keep one light on because this video is going to get spooky real fast.
Stats of the book. We want what is yours.
What are Deadites? Species, spirit, or possessed bodies? Before we talk about anything else, let's clarify exactly what the Deadites really are because almost every character in these films gets it wrong and then ends up paying the price for going at it, fully unprepared. Many people wonder if the Deadites are actually zombies or maybe even ghosts, but in reality, they are better understood as bodies or beings taken over by the demonic evil connected to the Book of the Dead. In several corners of the franchise, they are described as undead, parasitic, demonic spirits, but the films themselves usually present them in a more flexible way, as flesh-possessing demons that hijack living or dead bodies and turn them to weapons. And you know what? This classification is actually really important, because it hints that there are usually two different layers involved in the so-called possession. One is the evil force that takes control, and the other is the actual body that is being used as a vessel. This distinction is actually the key to everything, as it kind of tells us why they are so hard to kill, why dismembering them often works better than simply attacking them like normal people, and why, at times, the host's real personality seems to slip out even after getting possessed. As for their true origin, no one is completely sure, and that is actually the point. Different parts of the franchise connect the Deadites to the Kandarian demon, the Necronomicon Ex Mortis, the Naturum Demonto, and the Dark Ones. Some fan sources describe them as corrupted souls, while other franchise lore connects them to ancient demonic powers that use them like soldiers or extensions of evil. There is no reason to pretend the franchise has one perfectly clean origin answer, but it really does not. The ambiguity is what makes the Deadites that much more terrifying. How does possession actually work inside the body? Possession is not just some light switch that you can flick on and off anytime you want. It is an entire process that changes depending on which book, demon, ritual, or supernatural force is active in that part of the franchise. So far, the movies and shows have shown several different ways that possession or Deadite corruption spread, and each one has its own physical signature. Wound infection is one of the most common methods on here. The evil can move through a wound or injury, like the times it affected Linda, Ed, and eventually Ash's hand. Now, bites and scratches, well, they can be faster, because if you remember, Ash's hand was bitten by Linda's severed head, while in Evil Dead 2013, Natalie was infected after Mia bit her hand in the cellar sequence. Both situations show that once evil gets into the body, cutting off the infected part may be the only chance of stopping the takeover before it spreads too far. Now, the next method is kind of gruesome, even for me, and it is physical violation by living objects like trees, because this was the method by which Cheryl and Mia were taken, and honestly, it is still one of the most traumatic things I have watched in a horror movie. Another method that was shown specifically in Evil Dead Rise was the spreading of corruption through contaminated blood and a tattoo gun. In that scene, possessed Ellie attacks Bridget with the tattoo gun after the object is contaminated, and Bridget's possession follows soon after. The final and probably the most talked about way of possession is the Necronomicon, or Naturam Demonto incantation, which actually allows the evil to awaken without any normal infection route at all. Like, even if the people are in a secluded area with no Deadites running around, they are for sure in danger once the wrong passage is read out loud. The one important thing to note here is the fact that the possession rules are not perfectly identical in every movie. Evil Dead 2013 and Evil Dead Rise especially show that different books or different versions of the evil may follow slightly different mechanics, so what stopped one Deadite may not stop another.
I can smell your filthy soul.
What does possession physically do to the host's body? When a Deadite spirit fully takes over someone's body and soul, you might have noticed that the body does not just get controlled by them, but it also appears to restructure itself, at least to a certain point. This is because the demonic force actively twists the body in order to better suit its needs. The first things to usually change are the eyes. They often turn solid white, and you know that white eyes are probably not a good sign, especially in a horror movie. Though I must mention that although white eyes are common, they also have other variants, such as yellow, red, and even blue, all depending on the continuity. Even the skin tone of the possessed person starts to change colors. Now, these changes are subtle at times, but when a body slowly starts to turn different shades of gray, green, yellow, or bleached white, it is quite evident that the tissue is being presented as corrupted, dead, or spiritually polluted. Now, you might think, hey, the eyes and the skin color change is pretty gruesome, but nothing major, right? Wrong. Even the freaking blood of the person who is possessed can appear abnormal in different parts of the franchise. In movies and related lore, possessed people have been shown with strange blood colors and unnatural bodily fluids, which makes the takeover feel more physical than simple mind control. In most of these movies, even well-groomed people see physical changes like sharper nails, partial facial features, rotten skin, distorted posture, and terrifying expression that are clearly meant to make the body more dangerous and disturbing. The body temperature changes are also a clear indication of something being wrong with an infected person. And once the person's vocal cords change, I would suggest leave. Like, genuinely, there's almost a 0% chance that you are going to survive that. Even after all of this, you would feel like it's more like a zombie apocalypse than anything, until you realize that the Deadites also seem to access the memories of the hosts. They know every name, every fear, every relationship, and they use it against their next targets in order to weaken them and infect them, as slowly and as painfully as they can. For them, the body is a weapon, but the memories are the ammunition. How strong is a Deadite body and what can it physically do? If we are going to discuss this, let's discuss what the movies actually show us, shall we? The Deadites are not measured with official strength classes or exact power levels, so it would be wrong to treat fan power scaling as confirmed canon. But from the films themselves, we can safely say that Deadite bodies are usually far stronger and far more durable than normal human bodies. These are not just creatures who are a little stronger. They can throw people around, smash through doors, survive massive blood loss, keep moving after injuries that would instantly stop a normal person, and attack with a kind of violent force that feels physically impossible for the host's original body. In Evil Dead 2 and Army of Darkness, Ash is constantly forced to mutilate, dismember, and destroy possessed bodies because simple hits are almost never enough. In Evil Dead 2013, the possessed victims continue attacking after horrific wounds, and in Evil Dead Rise, Ellie, Bridget, Danny, and the final fused creature show just how brutally durable modern Deadites can be. Their speed is also inconsistent, but clearly dangerous. Some Deadites lunge, climb, crawl, or strike faster than a normal human should be able to. But the most terrifying thing about these creatures is their stamina. Like, come on. They may not literally have infinite stamina in a confirmed technical sense, but they often behave as if exhaustion does not matter. They do not slow down the way a living human would. They do not seem worried about bleeding out until the body is completely destroyed. They can keep laughing, screaming, crawling, and attacking, even after catastrophic injury. Usually all the movies end within a single day, But if they're feeling funky, just imagine sitting in a bunker with years worth of rations thinking you will be just fine for at least 10 years. But these creatures just stand and talk to you from outside every single second. Sheesh, I got goosebumps even though I myself made up this scenario. Honestly, if I had to go against these creatures who do not seem to care about pain, exhaustion, or normal survival instincts, I would keep my shotgun ready. Can Deadites reshape their own bodies? See, we have definitely talked about whether the Deadites can change their basic biology, and the answer is very much yes, but with one important clarification. The movies show body distortion, monstrous transformation, and supernatural physical changes, but they do not give us a scientific manual for exactly how every change works. So I think it is very important to understand this aspect of theirs clearly, because, believe me or not, it might save your life one. So far, we know that the Deadites do not just possess the body, but they also twist it to fit their needs. In documented cases across the franchise, possessed bodies develop sharper features, unnatural movement, distorted limbs, rotten or changed skin, monstrous facial changes, and sometimes much bigger transformation, depending on the entry. These changes are supernatural rather than biological in a normal sense, but the result is still the same. The host becomes something that should not be alive and yet somehow still keeps coming. The most extreme example I can think of at the top of my head is the Marauder from Evil Dead Rise. At a certain point in the movie, Deadite Ellie, Deadite Danny, and Deadite Bridget merged together to form this weird, multi-limbed, multi-headed creature that could function as one. This was not a normal mutation or even an accident. Instead, it seemed like a coordinated demonic transformation. This could very well mean that Deadites can connect with each other on some level, but the film does not fully explain whether that means a true hive mind or just a shared supernatural force controlling them. The Marauder was clearly terrifying and honestly really scary, and the only reason behind it is that it showed us all that we probably did not know half the things we thought we knew about them, such as how far can a Deadite body actually go once the evil stops pretending to follow human anatomy? Do Deadites have a hive mind? Well, we asked it ourselves, so we must answer it too. The simple answer is that the franchise strongly suggests some form of shared demonic awareness or coordination, but it does not give us a perfectly clear scientific hive mind with rules and limits. See, the thing is, we know that many Deadites are connected to larger evil forces, including the Kandarian demon, the Book of the Dead, the Dark Ones, and Ruby's actions in Ash vs. Evil Dead. That means they are not always just random monsters acting alone. This does not necessarily mean every Deadite in every timeline is part of one giant internet connection of evil. It is safer to say that active Deadites often seem linked by the same supernatural force, especially when they cooperate, taunt victims with shared knowledge, or merge bodies like the Marauder in Evil Dead Rise. The best example of this is also Marauder, because it showed us that 3 separate Deadites had the capability of merging and controlling one monstrous body while still retaining traces of the family members they had possessed. What makes this entire thing interesting is that Deadites can still be like individual personalities. One may mock you, another may trick you, another may act like a loved one for a few seconds, and another may just go straight for the kill. Although each Deadite has the capability to function with its own set of personalities and cunningness, in the end of the day, they are all expressions of the same. So it would not be a stretch to say that a Deadite is like a node in a supernatural network, but we should not claim the franchise has officially explained the exact mechanism. This is why even if you kill just one, the rest of them do not die. But of course, they do understand that there is power in numbers, so they often make coordinated attacks. If by chance they do perish, the evil behind them can still return through the book, the incantation, or another poor soul who gets too close to the wrong passage. Can Deadites feel pain? This is the one fact I was waiting for because many people argue over it, but the safest answer is this. Deadites may not be completely proven to have total pain in every version, but they clearly show extreme pain resistance or pain indifference. That is actually scarier than a simple no pain answer, because it means the body may still be getting destroyed, but the thing controlling it does not care. This does not mean that the host pain receptors just stop working or something either. The franchise does not explain that part scientifically. What the films do show, again and again, is that possessed bodies keep fighting through injuries that would disable or kill a normal human being. There is no normal hesitation, no normal flinch, and if you have noticed, they barely even try to dodge any attacks, unless it helps them psychologically or strategically. I even speculate that maybe they do this because they are aware that they can be beaten. But if in some cases they are defeated, they want the host of the body to die too from the injuries. Genuinely sinister. Usually when people attack others, the pain is something that causes the victim to slow down, register, and then think before they even plan their next move. This is called getting breathing room, but the Deadites almost never give that to anyone. They will keep on marching into the attacks just to mess with your head. This is exactly why it is agreed throughout the fandom that dismemberment is probably the go-to solution for defeating many Deadites. After a point, the whole situation becomes you trying to beat the host's body before even thinking of defeating the demon. Crazy. What happens to the original host's soul? This topic itself is kinda scary and terrifying. I know, but the reality is far darker than people can understand. When a Deadite takes over the person's body, the franchise strongly implies that the victim's soul is in serious danger, but it does not explain the exact fate of every host in one clean rule. In some lore and fan interpretation, the soul is sent to Hell or the Deadlands. In other parts of the franchise, possession looks more like the evil suppressing the person while using their body as a puppet. So the safest answer is that Deadite possession threatens the body, the mind, and possibly the soul, but the exact process depends on the story. So far, there are a few cases that complicate things. In Evil Dead 2, Ash is momentarily freed from the early stages of possession when he sees Linda's necklace and grief overwhelms him. This means that extreme or strong emotional connections have the power to briefly stop or interrupt the possession process, at least before it becomes permanent. In another timeline and extended lore, there are supernatural methods that can temporarily suppress Deadite control and bring back signs of the host's original personality. But this is very iffy at the same time, because Deadites have a tendency to fake emotion in order to get their prey closer to, so it's basically a 50-50 chance to make. Either trust the magical method that brought back your best buddy, Kyle, or run away as fast as you can in hope that the Deadite goes after someone else. The last exception is kind of not even a proper exception, but we know that in some cases possession can be stopped if it is identified in its early stages and the corrupted body part is removed before the evil spreads. Ash's hand is the classic example, and Natalie's infected hand in Evil Dead 2013 follows the same horrifying logic, even though her situation goes much worse. The worst part about all of this, though, is the fact that even if the host briefly returns, the body and soul may already be marked by evil. So once your body starts showing symptoms, you can never expect to have a peaceful life, even if you do not get fully possessed and even defeat the Deadite. What new abilities did Evil Dead Rise add? As we all know, Evil Dead Rise brought us not only a new movie, but it also gave us an upgrade to our Evil Dead hardware. Now, if you don't know what I mean by that, we actually saw the Deadites do things that we were not even aware of them being capable of doing. Some fans believe that these were just stylistic choices and that these were exceptions, but Evil Dead Rise clearly expands what modern Deadites can do on screen. Screen Rant's analysis also argues that the film changes or expands several pieces of Deadite and Necronomicon lore, but the movie itself is the primary source here. For example, when Deadite Ellie places her ear against Beth's stomach and appears to detect Beth's pregnancy or the unborn child, it clearly lets us understand that the Deadites may possess heightened perception. We should not claim that their hearing is officially equal to dogs or wolves, because the film never gives us a measurement, but the scene definitely suggests that hiding ordinary human signals from them is not easy. This means that there is a high chance that whatever you say, even while hidden, can be noticed by them if they are close enough. Another addition to their strengths is the fact that when possessed, Jessica was able to drive herself to an abandoned cabin without any mishaps whatsoever, meaning the Deadites are more than capable of retaining physical information and memories of the host as well, such as driving, using tools, and manipulating everyday objects with disturbing precision. The tattoo gun scene with Bridget also supports this idea, because the evil does not just attack randomly, it uses whatever the environment gives it. The worst part about how strong the Deadites are now comes from Father Marcus's recordings, which suggests that burning and burying may not always work the way people think. Do you understand what that means? It does not mean every single thing we knew about killing Deadites was wrong, because Evil Dead 2013 still uses burial, dismemberment, and burning as part of its own rules. But Evil Dead Rise complicates the manual by showing that this book's Deadites may not follow the same exact stopping methods as the earlier. The safest method still appears to be destroying the body as completely as possible, especially through dismemberment and massive physical damage. The third book did not just summon different Deadites, it made the rules feel more unpredictable. And these are all the reasons why the Deadites are considered to be one of the strongest species of evil ever depicted in a horror movie franchise. Like, seriously, ghosts are okay, zombies are somewhat better in my opinion, but having a demon zombie nightmare that might steal your body, use your memories, twist your flesh, and possibly endanger your soul, that is a big no-no for me. These creatures are not just defying everything biology stands for, but they defy it just for fun. If you have watched our previous video on Lobo, you would know how annoyingly overpowered he was. And I can confidently say that the Deadites are just as annoying, but hundreds of times scarier than Lobo could ever be. I would much rather be an NPC in a zombie movie than go up against the Deadites from Evil Dead. And that says something because, well, there is no because. Deadites are the definition of pure evil and psychological terror, and I want nothing to do with them. If you enjoyed our video, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell icon so that you never miss another update from us. Oh, and while you're doing all that, let us know how you would try to defeat these creatures from hell. Till we meet again in our next video, peace out.